Hey everybody, welcome to Chainsaw Rescue. Today we're taking a look at a Poulan Pro 35cc. This is the PP3516. Now I had this saw running, it was running great. I listed it on Marketplace for sale, put some fresh gas in it, went to start it up so I could bring it to the customer, and the saw won't run right. So it's running as if the carburetor's bad or something like that. So I made some carb adjustments that didn't help, and then I started smelling gas. So I already kind of gave it a quick look over and realized we need to replace the gas lines. So today we're going to go through, I'm going to walk you guys through on how to replace your gas lines on these Poulan Pros. Now, something to keep in mind, if you have this saw, the gas lines that they use and that you're going to replace it with really are not that great. It's just, it is the way it is. Now, you can order up a kit right off Amazon, gas line kit to do this job. I've got a filter and it comes with like a couple different size lines, usually a new primer bulb and all that. These are left over from another saw that I've worked on, so we're just going to use those. What I will try to do though is have a link down below through Amazon where you guys could purchase a kit to replace your gas lines and any tools that I'm using, whether they're the same or something similar. So I'll bring you guys in close, show you what tools you're going to need to do the job, and then we're going to get started. Guys, close up on the bench. So you're going to have to get that gas line kit, right? Hoses and a new filter. You're going to need a T25 torque bit, long pair, needle nose pliers. You're going to also potentially need this spindle screwdriver here, or splined screwdriver, I mean. All right, see how it's splined in there? Hopefully you can see it. This comes from a carburetor adjustment kit. This is a part that you may or may not need if we need to adjust the carburetor after. I'm gonna need a flathead screwdriver. I've just got my scrunch, a mini flathead screwdriver. You're gonna need a socket wrench with an 8mm deep well socket and a razor knife. It's also a good idea to have a rag and you know, just something to catch any gas or spilt fuel that you can throw out, air out, or burn later. All right, so first thing first, we're gonna try to have you guys have a really good view here. You gotta remove this cover. Now there's 1, 2, 3 screws. You can use your flathead, or if you have a long T25 bit, this won't work always. Sometimes these holes are different, but on this particular unit, they fit. All right, so mine are already loosened up. Remember, a T25 or a flathead. Pop that forward. We're pulling this whole plastic piece off and out. Set it aside. Now sometimes that plastic cover comes off for the air filter. It's fine. Set that aside. We're looking here at the back of the saw and the carburetor. Remove your filter. This filter has a little bit of dirt, but it's fine. There's really nothing wrong with it. We're going to come in here with our 8mm. And you got 1, 2, 8mm, okay? Like to have a catch pan. T125, there's a screw up here in the top. Over here on the side of the saw where your choke is, you need to take a flathead and remove this screw. You might be able to, you can leave that one in actually. I forgot. I moved it before, but it doesn't have to come off. You just got to move this black piece out of the way. So don't worry about that. Now we got to remove the throttle linkage, which is connected here in the throttle. See this piece that comes forward? This metal rod is the throttle linkage. So what you've got to be able to do, hold this back, squeeze the trigger forward a little bit. You got to try to pop the rod to the side here. Comes forward, and you got to sort of get in here, work it a little bit, pull this rod right off that way. Now the rod's connected back here on the carburetor. Lift up and out. All right, set it aside. Remember guys, if you lose parts, you're gonna have to order stuff. So at this time, if you need a new carburetor, you can also order one. It's a good time to replace it if it's bad. If it's not, save yourself the money. It's totally up to you. I'm not even gonna clean this carburetor at the moment, but if I have an issue after gas lines are replaced, then we'll make a second video and we'll clean up the carburetor. So carburetor pulls straight off. It's a good idea to take a picture and remember where your gas lines are. So you got a line that comes off over to the primer bulb, and this little line comes up and hooks to the bottom of the carb. All right, I'm gonna leave that short one on just to remember that's where it goes. Now we're looking down in here. This short little line, I gotta back this up if you're this far. Make sure you already drained the gas out of the tank. Mine's already drained. Sorry, guys. So your primer bulb's over here on the side. There should be 2 hoses that come out of it. The first one's attached to the carburetor, and there's a hose down here. This particular hose has already broken and came off. Now, when you look down in, there's a little hole. See the end here? Got a hole down here. The line goes in there and comes up and goes to the bottom neck. The bottom neck on the primer bulb that's in here. All right, so you got a bottom neck and an upper neck. So the bottom neck goes down in, upper neck up to the carburetor. Okay, keep that in mind. We're gonna also replace this hose. This is what tends to happen with this cheap gas line stuff. This is split. See that crack? This entire hose is split right down the seam, and this is the biggest reason why gas was everywhere. Plus the one line that snapped. So we have to remove the lines out of the holes that they're in. This one's always on there tight. Keep the lines close. I don't just chuck them. In your gas line kit, you should receive 2 hoses. One's bigger around than the other, okay? So we're going to need those. Keep all your broken hose pieces until we're all done, because we're going to use those as a way to measure how long to cut the new ones. Now, you've got to look inside the tank. You might not be able to see it in mine, but way down and in the back, the hose that broke, the underside piece is in there. So now we have to try and pull it out. Can't really pull it out. Can't grab it. My pliers aren't long enough. Yours might not be either. So, turn the saw up. Take something that is smaller than the hole and push the hose down in. So that piece of hose just fell down in, fell close to the opening here. Oop, fell all the way inside. No big deal. Tip it up, shake it out. There it is. Now, I want that little piece. See, it's got this stuff here going on. All right, I'm going to put that back in so the hose doesn't pull out, but we'll put that in the new line. So these two go together. This is the short one to the carb. And there's still one more line in that tank. And that's this line right here. It's a little bit smaller than the rest. And not only is it smaller than the rest, as in, you know, girth, it is the line that has your filter on it. So we're going to try to pull it down through the hole. It may work. It may just break. This line is pretty much shot. So there's that. It's probably still stuck up here at the top, which it is. Okay, so that's all out. So normally that is one piece, okay? Good times. So we're going to actually start with the smaller line that we just pulled out with the filter. And I'm going to measure it roughly right next to, let me see here. Yeah, it's a smaller one. Just double checking myself. And take the two pieces that broke. Sort of just lay it out here so I have an idea how long to make this. Cut it to length. Now what I want to do is instantly you want to just put your filter on, but sometimes that doesn't work that way. Sometimes you got to fish the line in first, and trying to get the filter on can be a huge pain in the butt. Got to fish this through that first little hole. This one right here. That's the smaller line. It's got to go in there. Now sometimes it's a good idea to cut it a touch longer than what you need. See if we can get it, and I'll show you why. If it's flat, it doesn't always go in the hole. But if you have an end that's tapered You can start that tapered end into the hole. The hose will usually start to work itself down in. I know it's tough, can't show you guys, but hopefully my explanation makes enough sense that you get it. Now, once it starts in the hole, you got to try to look in here for the line and use your pliers and pull it out. It's tedious. It's tedious, guys. It's tedious. And grab the end, start pulling the hose through. Carefully, don't pinch so hard you cut your line. I got to pull enough of this line through so we could try to get the gas filter on. So you got to be able to pull the line back out, like so. Cut the end off that you made tapered. And this is where it gets tricky because it's always way larger, but you got to try to put this on. You can't get it. Some other tricks you can do is take a punch, a hole punch, or I mean a metal punch or something that's got a smaller end than the hose. See if that goes in a little bit easier for me. Even if you got a bigger nail, but try not to puncture it, right? Put it in for a second, let it kind of, right, widen the hose a little bit. Wipe it off. See if you can't get that filter on. This cheap line is such a pain because it moves, it compresses, things just aren't that great sometimes, you know. I've had people on my other channel tell me I'm a steel snob. I'm the kind of guy where if a saw works and it runs great, I love it. Doesn't matter what brand it is, you know. I will say though, and I shouldn't have to, cheap saws are just what? Cheap. And they're made cheap. Cheap gas lines, cheap filters, cheap. This is my experience. I'm sure plenty of people want to argue that's just the way it goes. That's okay, you can have your opinion. So next step is to get in here, make sure that gas line and filter go to the far side of the saw, and you want to make sure that filter is laying flat in the bottom. You might have to pull some gas line back up through carefully so that filter does lay flat. There, right in the bottom of the saw. Perfect. Okay, so this line's in. It's going to go over to that side. Let's look at the small line. Well, let's look at our other line that has to go into the tank, which is this guy, which is the wider, thicker line. That should have came in your kit. This goes into the tank and goes to the lower portion on the, oh darn it, on the primer ball. Now you can't cut it right to size. It has to be long enough to go down in the tank and come out the hole, so you could put this on. I can't remember what this is, but so it's on so the line doesn't pull back up from pressure. Then you can pull it up, cut it to size, and pop it on the primer bulb. So it's okay if this line is long. Like, I'm going to take this whole piece, I'm not cutting it down. All I'm going to do is trim the end, like we did on the last one. A nice long angled cut, basically. Nice long angle cut. Chopping a bunch of material off. Fish it through that hole best you can. Tedious work, my friends. Tedious work. Flip it over. See the line. Take your needle nose pliers. Try to reach it. These particular pliers are just a smidge too short. Darn it. My other ones, I can't seem to find. I think I misplaced them. Is what it is, you know. Push that in a little bit farther. See if we can make sure the wrench is clean first. See if we can bend the line up a little bit, because I am literally about 1/4 of an inch too short on these to reach. Alright, time for plier modification. Got these little knobs holding the pliers back from going in any further. There, streamline those in a heartbeat, huh? Alright. Pulling that line up because we got to put the filter on. Or not put the filter on, I'm sorry. We got to put that other little piece on. So when we pressurize the tank from priming, the hose doesn't just blow up and out of the tank. There's that. That little piece, carefully cut away the old hose if it's still on there. Take that little piece, put it back on the line. Now this piece isn't sucking gas. It pushes the overspill back into the tank. So pull the line back out. Watching inside the tank, guys, as to where that is. Trying to remember about how much of it stuck down in before, so you can line it up about the same. We're done with inside the tank. Fumes are making me goofy, so we're going to put the cap back on. Hope you guys are enjoying this video. If it's helping you out, leave me comments. Be sure to give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe, as we're trying to grow this new channel, Kyle's Chainsaw Rescue. Yes, I changed the name. It was just Chainsaw Rescue, but I believe there's another channel with similar names, so we'll just go with Kyle's Chainsaw Rescue going forward. And yeah, continue on. If you guys love chainsaw carving, or maybe you like chainsaw carving, check out my other channel, KyleHallWoodworker. A lot of chainsaw carving, teach you how to carve. We're also going to be giving away a brand new Stihl MS-170 in the beginning of the new year, 2024. The goal is to get that other channel, KyleHallWoodworker, up to 30,000 subscribers before the end of this year, 2023, and I'm going to give away a brand new Stihl MS-170. You guys want to see what that's all about? Finish this video, jump over to that channel, and there's a few videos up talking about that giveaway. There'll be a few more between now and then, so hopefully you'll get a shot and you won't miss. Now this line that we just fed through the tank is way too long, but that's how we wanted it. But what I want to do is put it behind this one. It's got to go under the carb and over to the primer. So we want to look, gauge roughly how long it should be. And it should be a little bit longer in case you want to take that primer bulb out. It can still be connected. So I'm going to leave it long. Cut. Get it close to the end that it's got to go, which is the bottom side of the primer bulb. If you're looking at it, it'll make more sense. Use your pliers. Pop it on. Give her the old wiggle wiggle. There we go. Okay, that line's on. This line's free. We have one more line to cut that goes on the top side of the primer bulb, which is not that piece. It's going to be the fatter line from your kit. This is what we've got to kind of stretch out here. Cut the piece off of this guy again. Again, using your pliers, line her up. That's on. Longer thin line all the way over to the right side of the saw. Shorter fat line, left side, right, left. Sides of carburetor, okay? Skinny little line that goes down to your fuel filter right here on this little brass nipple. Now, I'm not cleaning the carb in this video. We're just going to replace these lines and see how she runs. If she runs like crap, I'll make another video. We'll pull the carb off and clean it, or you can go the route of just replacing it. Totally up to you. I know a lot of people these days rather replace carburetors. I get that satisfaction, though, of cleaning it, putting it back together, and having it run. Does it work all the time? Nah. Sometimes you got to put a new carb on. It happens. But sometimes there's satisfaction in the repair. Short line, back brass nipple. Pop that on. And slide these on as far as you can. Carburetor. Back in place. Okay. Boom. All new gas line repair is done. Now it's reassembling. Throttle rod. This end with the backwards L to U. This end with the squiggly weird S toward the motor. Fish it back through that lower hole. Pushing forward. Holding forward the carburetor there. Squeezing your trigger lightly. Got to find that sweet spot here on the trigger. Everything is spring loaded, so good times will be had by all. And you're fishing it back through that black piece right there, right? Give her a squeeze. Everything's working as it should. On. Let's get back to some parts here. I'm going to take this guy. Pop this guy back on. And you might have to fiddle around here with these, okay? Just get these choke levers lined back up. Start with that T25 screw. On 8mm deep well socket. Guys, again, I'll try to have parts and same or similar tools linked down below through Amazon. Being a newer channel, they don't always let me do that, but we're going to try to do that. I'm also thinking about creating some channel merch, but again, I think I got to get about 1,000 subscribers before I can have a lot of that kind of stuff going on to help grow and build the channel. So be sure to give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you guys haven't already. Hit that bell, hit all, and turn on YouTube notifications. All right, guys, really do appreciate it. We'll be working on and saving other saws in the future, so running some saws, making cuts. That's the plan for the channel. I also want to reach out and say you guys are awesome. We have over 26,000 views on one video for this little channel, and that is starting up the Steel 500i and just giving it a rev. Couldn't believe it. Like, insane that little video short has got so many. It's also given me 135 subscribers in the last 6 weeks. amazing. You guys are awesome. If you guys watched that video, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. All right, everything on, off, choke's working. All those things look good. We're gonna put our filter on. We're gonna put our saw back together. And well, we're gonna at least do this for now before we put the cover on, okay? We're gonna see how this thing runs. First things first, we're gonna prime this about 6 times. I'm just kidding. First thing we gotta do is go put gas in it. See how everything works. 6 times is what it says. 7's a charm, right? 7's a charmer. I'm just gonna fire it up in here real quick and see where we're at. Full choke all the way out. Chain brakes on. Red lever up. Saws on. Okay. Fires up. Gas line sounds good. I'm gonna adjust the carb with that spindle. I keep saying spindle. The spline wrench. What I'm going to do is the high and low. I'll give you guys a close-up in just a minute, though, so you guys can see, okay? Normally, this cover's on, right? High is toward the handle, low is toward the bar. Those are right here. So we're going to twist them all the way back to the handle. Both of these, all the way back till they stop. Now, I like to start this with the spline emblem facing up. And we're going to go all the way around till we see the spline again. That's 1. And then until the spline is facing down and a half. I'm going to go over here, spline facing up, all the way around till you see it. And then until it faces just down, 1.5. Let's fire this up, see if that makes a difference. All right, so I was making some adjustments over here on the side, and the screw in here for the throttle was all the way in. So I had to bring that out until the chain stopped. These were set properly. These are set pretty good. Had to make an adjustment here. So this looks pretty good, actually, guys. I'm going to put the cover on, bring it outside. We'll fire it up again and just see how she sounds and go from there. Hey, guys, we're out here in my carving tent. We're going to fire this up, make any adjustments as needed. So we'll have that spline screwdriver and a little flathead. Saws on. That's it. Saw already runs great. Just needed some gas lines. Remember to reset those carburetors if need be. And yeah, give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, guys. Hopefully this video will help you out. Have an awesome day. Bye.